Hello everyone. This is a follow-up of my previous post when I was discussing how I'm using December as a month for reflection and setting intentions. I'm reflecting what was happening for me in the 2020 and I'm setting intentions of how I'm going to show up in the upcoming year. And what I was describing in the previous post is a tool I'm currently using for this reflection. And this tool is called YearCompass. It's a fairly simple but pretty powerful instrument to provide a structure which kind of guides you through this reflection. And today I'm proud to introduce an interview with Laszlo Watt, who is one of the team who designed this beautiful tool. So let's get straight to it. Let's start from the start. So,
Okay,
how
sure.
did you come up with the idea in the first place, and what is the origin story?
Okay, the origin story. Every good hero needs a good origin story. So the founding year of the whole YearCompass movement is 2012, and there were three guys still part of the core team. Our founders. Their name is András Pétót, Adam Freisinger, and Laszlo Békési. And they went to the university together, and they finished at kind of the same time. And as of 2012, they were taking their first steps in this adult life. And the end of the year rolled around, and they wanted a different kind of New Year's Eve, and they kind of went into three directions. Laszlo did a huge reflection. I think it was like 14 pages or something like that, and he sent it to his family and his friends for some responses and for some reflection. Adam did a deep dive in the internet and found like 8 hours of yearly reflection material that he went through. And András organized an unusual New Year's Eve party where the guests could go through some of these questions together. And the party itself was such a success that people who weren't there started to email András to send them the questions so they could do it. And after the New Year's, the three guys kind of sit down together, and they went like they talked about these experiences and went like that. Hey, maybe there is something here. Maybe people need a tool, or maybe people need something to help them reflect on their past year and help them plan the next one. And they took all these raw experiences, and with a fourth guy called Gabor Szarvas, they formalized the content of the booklet, and the first edition was released in 2013. And it went viral. It was before Facebook locked down the whole funnel with ads, and you have to pay for access to your own followers. So we pretty quickly attracted a lot of interested people, and the rest is, I don't know. I don't wanna say tired idioms, but the rest is history. So this is the origin story.
I like it. That sounds incredible. Yeah, you also said that for most of you or all of you, this is not a day job, and we're gonna go into that. However,
Okay.
I don't want to skip a step, and the step I actually already skipped is what is the tool and who is it for? I mean, assuming I'm a total stranger to the tool, I don't know anything, or I'm your friend, we're having a beer and I don't know what you do and what is this YearCompass? Why should I care? What is it? What can it do for me?
Okay, so very simply, the one sentence pitch is that YearCompass is a booklet that helps you reflect on your year and plan the next one. And this is the deal. It has two parts: one for the past year, one for the next year, and both parts use self-reflective questions and exercises to kind of help you reflect, uncover your own patterns, verbalize the lessons that you learned about yourself, and then it helps you take these insights and kind of guides you through a sort of design process where the aim is to get closer to your ideal self next year. So I think YearCompass is for anyone who would like to know a little bit more about themselves and then use this knowledge to inform the decisions in their lives. I don't
Nice.
know. Did I answer your question or?
No, you didn't. I can absolutely see that you are ready for such a question, that you had to answer this, times and times again before. So
Yeah, and of course, so there are multiple levels to this whole stuff. So if you're a newcomer and you just wanna get acquainted with YearCompass, it's a free booklet. You can download at the website. And if you wanna go deeper, it's also a whole community of a lot of people from all around the globe, and you can join this community and meet a lot of like-minded people through our Facebook page, and get some motivation, so you can reflect on your past year and hopefully design a better year for yourself next year.
sounds very good to me. So we talked about the history of it a little bit. So
Yeah.
I'm wondering how, if even, did you iterate through creation of this tool? Because you mentioned multiple people, probably different approaches, bunch
Yeah.
of questions. Did you kind of prune it down, or did you tweak something over the years?
Yeah, so we usually with this team, the YearCompass, the core YearCompass team has a lot of other projects together. For example, we do have a company that we run for profit together, and designing products such as YearCompass is not foreign to us. And the design process was kind of the same that we always do. First, we went out into the world and collected a lot of examples. Of course, we didn't invent self-reflective questions, or we didn't invent year planning or yearly reflections. So there were already a lot of materials that we could take a look at and get inspired. And once we had that, we kind of sat down and started to prune it back, and we always want to find the narrative arc. If you fill out YearCompass, you can see that it has a very strong narrative arc, and we try to chisel that down and throw out everything that's not absolutely necessary. So this was kind of the design process. We took a lot of inspiration in, then we gave it a narrative arc. We threw everything out that wasn't absolutely necessary, and of course, a lot of these choices were inspired or informed by our own experiences. Most of the team has experience with non-formal teaching and non-formal learning, some coaching. We have a layman's understanding of psychology. None of us are psychologists or psychiatrists, but we do have an enthusiastic interest in these topics. So we kind of took all of these insights and all of these impulses and put it together to have a booklet. By the way, I'm saying this like I was there. I wasn't there at the initial design process. I joined the team in 2014, 1 year after the first booklet came out. And just to answer the other part of your question, you asked if we changed anything during the years of the YearCompass releases. The core booklet actually stayed remarkably the same. So one of the design principles that we chose initially, that we wanted to design a structure that's specific enough to be helpful, but broad enough to be applied to almost anyone's life. And the result is that the booklet held up very well over the years. We had some minor experiments with the content. For example, back in the day, we had a month-by-month planning section that we eventually removed. But other than that, nothing major was added or removed. Actually, this year, 2020, is the first time we designed a major addition, a pandemic supplement. But this is hopefully a one-time thing, and it's not integrated into the booklet itself. It will be a supplement that you can download and that you can use with the booklet, with this year's booklet, but not a permanent addition, because we really do hope that this is the only year that we need to fill out a pandemic supplement.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, I'm really interested to learn more about the process itself. However, I have to say that I need your advice as an expert on the tool, because I'm sold. I'm a person who is interested in these topics, probably as you are, also not a psychologist by trade, but
Hmm.
I'm drawn naturally to those topics.
Hmm.
However, just this week, I was trying to sell, if you will, this tool
Hmm.
to a couple of my friends and even to my mom. And I got remarkably defensive responses from a couple of people. And
Hmm.
I guess you know what I'm talking about. It's like, oh my God, I don't want to do New Year's resolution. Oh, this would only make me feel horrible about all the stuff I didn't accomplish this year. You name it. I'm sure you've heard all of it. So what would be your response to that, and how would you persuade someone who is very reluctant
Hmm.
using these tools to actually give it a try?
Hmm. I think there are two parts to this question, or two parts of this to this problem. First of all, I think we have to accept that, or at least my understanding of the world is that some people love this kind of stuff, this kind of self-reflective, uh, self-knowledge exercises and tools, and there are people who just hate it. And I generally don't try to persuade skeptics, because this is as most self-reflective tools, this is a tool that worth that much that you put into it. So if you put in the work, if you put in yourself, you will get a lot of things back. But if you go there with a skepticism, with kind of a general defensive posture, you won't get that much out of this. These are just questions. You are the magic sauce that will make this click and make this work. What I actually found, that if there are people who are on the fence, who would like to do this kind of stuff, but for some reason they are afraid, or for some reason they are skeptical, but only a little bit, it actually helps if you do it in a group. Of course, in 2020, I wouldn't recommend you to hold a group session together in a physical space, but it can be a very um, great experience if you meet over Zoom and you do a kind of structured fill out, where somebody sets the tone, somebody sets the pacing, somebody will say that, hey, we are gonna do the first 2 pages, and then we are gonna stop for 10 minutes. You can share, if there is something that you want to share with the group, you can share it with the group, and then we are going to continue with the second 2 pages, and do a structured group exercise like this. This can help a lot, especially if there are someone in the group, if there is someone in the group who is enthusiastic about the tool, who can guide the others. They can help the more help the less enthusiastic persons through the experience, and you can generate new fans of self-reflection in this way. Yeah, so I would recommend the group session. And uh, and i definitely and i definitely know this feeling. I actually gave YearCompass as a gift a lot in the past years, and sometimes people just get hooked and they love it, and they fill it out every year after that. And I have experiences where the person just smiled politely and we never talked about it again.
Well, maybe we can tap into the benefits like over the time, because I already mentioned I have this 2019 version in here
Hmm.
that I put together, well, pretty much a year ago.
Hmm.
And looking at it and seeing the progress is inspiring. And I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure that you did it for yourself. You said you joined the team 2014. Could you think about maybe a few tangible things that you were able to discover about yourself thanks to this tool, thanks to this reflection, that may have been just forgotten, or not really noticed?
So I think the superpower of YearCompass is the time frame that it compresses for you. We don't really think about the yearly scope on the level of a year. We don't really think about years. We think about days, we think about minutes, we think about hours. Maybe we think about months and weeks, but we don't really think about time frames bigger than that. And I think what YearCompass does beautifully is that it takes your whole year and compresses it down into an afternoon, where you can take this journey from January through December. And And I think there's a lot of power in this, because you can actually see patterns that you wouldn't see on the daily or weekly or monthly level. And the biggest advantage is that or the biggest experiences, the most beautiful experiences that I got from YearCompass were patterns like this. So for example, I struggled with personal finances and with exercise for a lot of I went to medical school, and medical school is not really kind on your body and your mind, and YearCompass helped me realize these patterns, these harmful patterns that were happening, and helped me correct them. And also, one other thing that it really does it well, that if you do it every year, you will actually see the improvement in your life. Or I don't want to say improvement, because the whole point of YearCompass is not to be like a robot who only wants performance gains or something like that. It's about accepting yourself. It's about finding your own way. But in this I think what's really great about the tool, that it actually lets you find your way, and you can see as you walk along that way. And it gives you a tremendous amount of confidence in small changes. So I think that what YearCompass is really powerful, where YearCompass is really powerful, that it's not like a New Year's resolution. It's like a confidence boost, that hey, you want to be more healthy. That's great. Here are the little steps that you can take throughout the days, the weeks, the months. And next time when you look back, you will actually see that those little steps that seemed very little at the time, when you take a look at your whole year, they amounted to a gargantuan change in some cases. So for me, my personal experience, my personal biggest gains was that I was really bad at personal finance, and I think I'm quite good at personal finance right now. I was on a downward trajectory health-wise, and I'm on upward trajectory health-wise right now. So I'm very thankful for the tool, and of course a lot of other things. But I think these are the most the biggest ones.
I like it. And I agree. I mean, there are probably two ways this could be phrased that I like, that the growth happens where your focus and energy goes. So
Yeah.
this kind of shows it kind of directs the spotlight on the situation you're in.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that there are multiple steps to solving your, I don't want to say problems. I think we all have an ideal picture of ourselves, and unless we are a narcissist, this ideal picture will hopefully differ from the actual picture that we have ourselves today. And I think for a lot of us, life is taking steps toward this ideal self, whatever may that be. A more calm you, a more powerful you, a more healthy you. You can decide this. And I think this process, this moving your actual self toward your ideal self, this process has a lot of steps. And YearCompass won't solve the whole journey for you, but it will solve the crucial first step for you, where you can actually see your actual self, what you are right now, what your patterns are, what your goals are, what your desires are. YearCompass will help you uncover all of these things, and then it will also help you take the first steps toward this thing, and define your goals for the next year. What's actually sorry, I will digress for a minute. What's actually an interesting challenge for us, and one feedback that we hear from the community quite often, that they would like to have a tool for the rest of the journey. So YearCompass is really good in the yearly timeline, in this compress 1 year into one afternoon and look at the whole arc. It's great for this. It also can be beneficial for setting your goals for the next year. We intentionally don't make you set very specific goals. This is, remember I told you that we actually cut a part where there were 2 pages where you could write about the actual months of the next year. What will you do in next July, in next August? And what we found, that people found it really hard to fill those 2 pages, because it's very hard to think about a whole year ahead of time. and not really beneficial in a lot of cases, because I think 2020 is a great example. I don't think that many people's plans got through this year, and so we cut that part. And what remained is more of a bigger picture. You can draw a bigger picture yourself that still has a lot of flexibility. But then you close your year compass, January rolls around, and you're presented with the challenge that now what do I do? How do I do the little steps? How do I do what happens on the monthly timeline? What happens on the weekly timeline? What happens on the daily timeline? And we don't yet have an answer for that. And it's an interesting design challenge for us. And inside the team, we had some workshops, and we have some prototypes for some next products that could help with this kind of problem. And I'm personally very enthusiastic about this, because I think we all have, the core team itself has a lot of experience and expertise around these things. We all have our systems that make our plans happen. And I would like to do another round of design and product development to distill this experiment and release it. Distill this experience and release it to our community. But that's for another that's for another talk, I guess.
Absolutely. And, if that's an invitation, it's a yes from me already.
I'm glad.
Well, let's talk about the community, because you kept mentioning that. And originally, when I found your tool, I was thinking, oh, what is there to work on? I mean, it's a booklet. You just change the number every year and that's it. But there's a whole community in there. Tell me a little bit more about what it does. How does it serve to the people? What kind of people it kind of attracts? And how can I benefit from joining? Because I'm not there yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually, we do have a lot of work on this front too. So what we have right now is a lot of passionate YearCompass people. Whenever we post something to our Facebook page or another social channel, we get back a lot of love and a lot of really great feedback and thoughts and experiences. I have two stories from this year. One, that this year we don't really hire in YearCompass, because we are a very small team that doesn't really operate throughout the year. We just operate seasonally. But this year we had to hire a new person for the shipping team. And we posted the job application to our Facebook page, and in like 30 minutes we had like 30 or 40 applications, and they were great, like thought out, lovely people, lovely applications. And we chose a great candidate who works with us right now. So I think this is the power of community, that you just reach out and someone will come and help you. And also the other thing is that we are designing this pandemic supplement, and we released the first iteration through our Facebook page for some feedback. And in like 48 hours, some really great feedback rolled back in, and we could actually use it to improve the pandemic supplement. What we could do going forward, and what's a thing that we are debating inside the team, or not debating but thinking about it, is we could somehow we could do better in connecting these people with each other. And I don't know what's the platform for that. Maybe a Discord, maybe a Facebook group, I don't know. But right now the community exists around specific things. So when we release a new translation, a lot of people will come and help us improve it. When we want to go to another country, or for example, last year we posted a shout out to our social channels saying that, hey, we want to take YearCompass to a lot of underrepresented countries and communities, please help us. And in a few days we had translators and proofreaders for every edition, and we added, I think, more than 10 additions to the already existing languages. So yeah, this is the state of the community right now. I don't really like Facebook comments that much. I don't know what's your experience, but they can become very, very toxic. And generally, online communities tend to go toxic without heavy moderation. And we don't have heavy moderation in YearCompass. And in spite of this, we have the loveliest people around. So I kind of like them.
Okay, well, let's spend a little time on the community, because my next question ties into that.
Mm-hmm.
I was filling in my year compass, and um, sometimes I was really scared to even, put my pen to paper and write some
Mm-hmm.
stuff, because I thought, Jesus, that makes it look real. But
Mm-hmm.
the next step would be, do I share it with people? Do I show people my reflection? You mentioned that sometimes you suggest to do a session with a couple of friends. Would you do it as a session that has the common structure, but everyone feels their own? Or do they kind of publicly within the group share what they put in there?
One thing I would advise to everyone fill out their own year compass. So I don't know if I understand you correctly, but I wouldn't recommend doing one year compass as a group. I would
Mm-hmm.
I would recommend doing your own year compasses in a group. And as for the sharing aspect, I think that's a personal choice. Um, for example, in the core team, there is the other Laszlo Békési, who always sends us the 2-page summary of his year. And there are a lot of personal details in that. Of course, this is a small circle, so he only sends it to his family and his close friends. But it's a pretty personal document, and as he tells it, he gets a lot of love back from the feedback that he receives. And I would never do that. I need a lot more. Uh, I can only be honest with the paper if I know that nobody else will see the paper. So I can do a summary, but that summary won't really match what I put it down on the paper. And I think both of these are valid choices. I think the choice of sharing is a very valid and very very healthy choice for Laszlo, and I think not sharing my year compass is a very healthy choice for me, because we are different people. I know that I'm more of an introverted person. I know he's more of an extroverted person, and I think this is just one way that the difference comes out. And I think the community is the same. I usually scroll through the Instagram posts, and I can see that there are people who readily share the year compass pages with everyone in the world, and I think that can be a healthy choice for them. And I see people who just share the cover page, or not even that, just a photo of themselves and saying that, hey, I filled out my year compass. So I think you should decide this for yourself. I would encourage you to choose the way that's more conducive for honesty for you. So if you think you will be more honest with people there, with sharing it widely, do it that way. If you think you will be more honest if you keep this work private, keep it private. This is all about you. The tool works for you. You don't work for the tool.
Got it. Well, I have to say, you really inspire me to run this kind of community feeling. However, now you got me thinking. So, how would it actually go? So, we would go together with a couple of people, and
Mhm.
we would kind of be each other's accountability partners just for putting the time in. Uh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I think if you open your year compass, I think the first page still contains the two versions. So it will tell you
Okay.
that you can either fill this out by yourself, or you can fill it out in a group. And if you choose a group format, I think the what helps is if there's a facilitator, so someone who will familiarize with the tool and know what actually where are the breaks in the flow, the narrative arc. And if you have a facilitator person, they can be the master of ceremony. They can tell the group what they will do now, where are the stopping points, where will we share, how will we share, etc. So this is point number one. If you want to do a group session, have a facilitator who's prepared. Number two, this is a consent based exercise. This is such an important thing that I'm going to say it again. This is a consent based exercise. Everyone, write down what you want, share what you want. Nobody pressures anybody into sharing, into writing down something that they don't want. Other people's year compass is like other people's body. It's their business. You should respect that thing. So if you have a group, pay attention. And I think this is the facilitator's job, that everyone feels safe, everyone feels that they can share what they want and keep what they want. This is a very important thing for what we talked about before a few seconds ago. The point of YearCompass is to be honest with yourself. You can be honest with others too, and you can share this, but the first point is to be honest with yourself. And we have to design a group session that respects this very important principle. And I think that three would be point number three for a group session, is to have fun. Maybe bring cookies. Now it's 2020. Your group session would probably be over Zoom. Please be it over Zoom. And so everyone needs to bring their own cookies, but you can do that. You can also have a little bit of chatting, a little bit of a chat, a little bit of a catching up before you start, a little bit of a catch up, a little bit of a, I don't know, gratitude session when you end. And you can take a nice group photo. It's your group session. Do whatever feels right. And I would recommend that if you run this first, if this is the first time you run a group session, invite your closest friends, and don't do a 40-person workshop first. I think this is an intimate experience.
Thank you. I'd like to circle back to the community itself. You mentioned the community. You mentioned the success you had with translation to multiple languages. You mentioned some people sharing, some people not sharing. I'm wondering, you have this this overview of different cultures, different languages. So have you noticed any differences? Translation issues, for example, something just wouldn't translate, or some people sharing more in the public communities.
Mm-hmm.
I believe with so many languages, at least translation issues must be interesting.
Yeah. Localization is hard, man. So there is a wonderful resource. I think Google put it out, which talks about it's for copywriters who write for a multilingual audience, and it goes through like 13 or 14 points that you should apply to your text if you write for a multilingual audience. And the first of those points is, don't use idioms. Don't use anything that's specific to your language, because it will be hard to translate. So the translation of YearCompass went through a lot of iteration. Adam, who is our chief designer, he won't like this that I called him our chief designer, but in my mind he is our chief designer, and he was in charge of the translation process. Took very good care of pruning out everything that is culturally specific to Hungary. And we tried to design a very simple text that's easily translatable to other languages. So we don't really get issues with this. Translation is not really idioms or localization is not the biggest problem of YearCompass. The biggest problem with localization is the design itself. Since this is a physical product, it's actually harder to localize than if it would be a web page or something like that, because I don't know if anyone thinks about this other than people who do localization, but languages are not the same length. The same unit of information can be a very different character number. And so because of this, whenever we create a new edition, a new translated version, we have to tweak the design a little bit to fit everything onto the same page. And this is a big issue that we solved in steps. And we actually got to a place this year. Our Laszlo made a script in InDesign that resizes the boxes, resizes the letters automatically based on the language. So this was one of the biggest challenges that we had to take. And another interesting thing, I don't know if people know this, but there are left to right languages in this world, and there are right to left languages in this world. And we thankfully have a number of right to left languages lately. So we had to think about the design a little bit to service them as well. Yeah, but yes, translation is an interesting thing, and community translation is another very interesting beast in itself. My favorite is the German translation. Uh, my understanding is that German is a really particular language with a lot of regional differences. So usually when we put out a German booklet, somebody will come to the DMs or the email address and write a very polite email that goes along the lines of, "Hey, I love your booklet, but there are some German mistakes in it. I fixed that for you." We thank him or her. We release the booklet, and then a couple of hours passes, and another German person comes who writes another very very polite email that says, "Hey, I love your booklet, but there are some German problems in it. Let me translate," and switches back the things to the previous iteration. And we had a couple of rounds of this. So I always chuckle at German people when they do this. I think they are charming.
I believe so. And sadly, my German is very rudimental, but I was thinking, with Germans, at least you should have fixed the issue with too long sentences. I mean, what is their word for speed limits? Is this Geschwindigkeitsbegrenzung or something? Can
Yeah.
it get longer than this in any other language?
Yeah. Yes, these are. I always look at these as interesting design challenges, I think, and the medium is the message saying is very true here. So if you do a hardware product, and this is a hardware product in this sense, you will have different challenges than if you would do a software product or something like that. Mm-hmm. Interestingly, by the way, just to give you an interesting trivia, there was one year where we had an online product, an online YearCompass product, and then we rolled it back because it wasn't that. The booklet was much better received than YearCompass Online. There were some passionate people who loved it, but I think there is something that fused together in people's minds with the hardware product. So YearCompass means a booklet that I can hold in my hand, even if I can fill it out in my computer and then print it. But I want to print it.
Thank you. So that's actually very true with the modalities you offer. So you offer like a form fillable PDF, and you offer just printable one.
Yes.
I was really on the fence which one to use. Mm-hmm. I went for the fillable one last year, and I printed one this year. Mm-hmm. What is your personal experience? What do you prefer? And do you have a suggestion what would be like more beneficial?
If you're just starting out, I would recommend the small booklet format. So we have a small two-sided booklet. I think that's our favorite, or at least my favorite. I think that's the base product. Mm-hmm. And it's good because it forces you to be succinct. So I think if you are starting out with YearCompass, your first problem will be the problem that you just mentioned, that you will be afraid to put pen to paper. And when you have put pen to paper, your next problem will be to stop writing. And the small booklet format will force you to consider the words, consider your choices that you make in filling this out, and it can help you quiet your mind and filter through the noise. If you're an experienced YearCompass person, then I think you will have your own personal preference. For example, I actually use I write digitally now. For a lot of the time, for the longest time, I was the staunch defender of putting pen to paper. But I found that in the past 2 years, I couldn't handle the time it took to write down everything that I wanted. And also, most of the power users will tweak YearCompass a little bit, and it's easier to tweak it digitally than it is to tweak it physically. But yeah, if you're just starting out, I would recommend the small booklet format and see what happens there, and go from there.
Of course, thank you. You just inspire me, to become, an aspirational power user in a couple of years. So
yeah, absolutely. I think one of we talked a little bit about the design choices that we made, and one of the design choices were to be very accessible. This is a tool for the beginner to intermediate, I don't know what's the word, self-reflection enthusiast. This is not a power user tool, and it's good that it's not a power user tool, because we don't want to intimidate people. We don't want to throw a 40-page book on them that takes like 3 days to fill out. No, YearCompass is for you to fill out in one silent, calm afternoon, and you will get tremendous benefit from it. And when you start to grow it out, you will know enough about yourself, your own needs, that you can actually apply your own modifications to the booklet.
I love it, but you got me curious now. So is there a expanded version somewhere to be found for someone who's been doing this for quite a while?
No, there isn't. At least not YearCompass. You can find a lot of self-reflection tools on the internet, and I think there are more. There are things that geared more towards the power user. I think when you get to this point, when you get to the point where you feel that YearCompass is maybe too small for you, first of all, switch to the large booklet format. And when you did that, and you feel that you need more tools, I really do think that you will know what those tools are, and you can define them for yourself. This is what I see in the core team. We still use YearCompass, but not in the booklet form. We use the specific panels that are still important for us. So for example, I use most of the booklet, but I add at least that much to it on my own design. And those questions, I don't think they are interesting or applicable to anyone. They are very interesting and very applicable to me specifically, but I needed those few years of training with the base YearCompass to get to those, to get to that self-knowledge level where I can actually define the tool that I need to make a better self-reflection tool for myself. One interesting thing, one of Adam's, one of my core, who I refer to as the chief designer. So one of Adam's pet projects in the team, he would very much like to create a way for YearCompass to be modular. So you would have the base version, but if you're a power user, you could click together, you could build together a tool from panels, from modules, and then you could download a custom built booklet for yourself. And this is in the experiment stage, or even in just the wondering, the thinking phase. But this is something that excites me as well. I think this would be a great design challenge and a great next step for YearCompass, to have this modular structure where we could have power user modules, and for example, you could build your own YearCompass. And if you're a beginner, you could always download the basic version.
Thank you. And I believe you may have answered what was supposed to be my last question. So what's on the radar, or on the compass, should I say, for you in the upcoming year?
That's always an interesting question. So the main bottleneck of YearCompass is our very deliberate choice with our time. So this is a part-time project for us. This is as I said, this is art for us. This is our side project, and we usually dedicate time for the whole YearCompass project from September to the end of January, and then the project goes dormant, and then we pick it back up in September again. So this means that we are, and it's not our day job, so we are even limited in those few months. This means that we usually can do one big-ish things in a year, and this year we chose that big-ish thing to be the pandemic supplement. I'm actually very excited about that. I really hope that we can help some people cope with the stress, with the hardships of this year. And I'm very excited about the community feedback on that one. And we are also working on something that I'm not at liberty to say what it is actually, because we mean it to be a surprise. It's possible that it will be done this year. If it will be, you will all know about it. And if not, that's the immediate next thing on the roster for next year. And if we complete this surprise, I think the most interesting thing for me, I cannot speak for the whole team, but for me, I would like to design a little bit tighter community with a little bit more interaction between the members. And I would also love to give a chance to these other products that we talked about, that can help you take what you designed in YearCompass on the high level and bring it back down to the daily level, and help you plan those little specific steps that hopefully get you to your more ideal self.
Amazing. Oh, thank you, Laszlo, for your time, for your answers. It was definitely worth it. And, I'm really hoping that once the new tool is out, you let me know and we can do a follow-up.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. And hey, man, thanks for the conversation. You had some really great questions. I enjoyed it.
Okay. Thank you for watching. That's it for today. If you like it, well, give it a like. That's kind of a no-brainer. And if you enjoy this type of content, there's going to be more very soon. So subscribe to this channel so you are not going to miss it. And I'll see you next time. Have a great day.